Okay, now, again, welcome to my presentation about availability information and how to bring this information to your patrons. So, my name, by the way, my name is Uwe, and I work. Okay, I work for one of these German consortia of scientific libraries, which are founded mostly by the states. You know, Germany is a federal state, and so every state said, oh, we need our own federation for our own libraries. So we have several federations, but we are cooperating. We are orange one in the middle, and we are from the area and from the number of libraries, probably the smallest one. We are founded in 1987, starting with central cataloging with online terminal and serial lines with 300 baud in the central system, getting back the title informations on microfishes, and then present them to our patrons. Our central catalog has at the moment around about 17 million title records, including 100 million of item records. Also, we are doing consortial licensing of online resources, and our central system is an ILL hub for local and national resource sharing. Then there is a lot of additional services we offer to our libraries, but this is not our concern today. For us, important is that our libraries are going to switch from the former library system to FOLIO, and this has some impacts for our work. We are already hosting VuFind applications for our libraries to have a nice experience for them. And in the next years, we will host FOLIO installations for our libraries. The second part of the introduction might be what's availability information for me. So surely it's clear, just opening hours is an availability information, but nowadays it's not enough. So another view on availability information might be this. I just collected some parts which could be important for the patrons to know. How do I get this book? When do I get this book? What restrictions are, and all of this. But don't be afraid. This is a long list, and we don't have to go through. So, but one example I want just to give to show that it's not only all webware which I'm showing, so it's a concrete software solution we are talking on. So now I try an online. Okay, it works. This is a VuFind installation for the University of Kassel, one of our members. In the beginning, you see the normal information about the title itself. Then you have a list of holdings and items. And the items are grouped to the location. This library has a lot of departments far away from each other. And in their main department, they have a lot of great rooms where the books are directly available as free access. This is a library with mostly free access. We have other libraries they have mostly closed storage rooms. So for libraries like this, no, don't want to translate. For libraries with big public rooms, it's important to give the patrons a hint where to find the book. It's normally, it works fine if somebody hides the book from the others in another shelf. This is another pipeline that can solve this. So this isn't directly availability information in its initial meaning, but I think it has to be important that the library can present this information. So now, how to come back? Wrong. Back to our presentation. This is again just in the case if the online access wouldn't work. So the third part of the introduction is where do we come from and what is our plan, what we are going to do with the folio system. Originally, we have been a good customer of OCLC Picker. In our consortium, we have the central system for the central services and the central cataloging. And for the libraries have their local systems, also by OCLC. And this system gets the central catalog data, tidy data, with an update process from the central system, and it provides a fairly fine graphical interface for the librarians. Totally unuseful for patrons, but for patrons, great. This library system has also an interface for the patrons, but this is in classical OPAC, and which is quite outdated. So we decided several years ago to replace the OPAC with VuFind to present a view for the patrons and to get the actual availability status and availability informations. We created tools. We created an own middleware. Exactly. This works too. Oh. That's great. Okay, so we have to create our own middleware, and the target we are going to is just to replace the library system and to have the central system like it is, to have the VuFind installation like it is, and the patron's view should be mostly unchanged at all. So we are could provide a very smooth migration path, even if some of our libraries have already folio and others are still with the legacy system. Here, as you can see, the title information goes directly to the VuFind system, so we can do fully independent indexing here from the needs the librarians have in the folio system. So, okay, when we started with folio, we saw there's an edge RTAC and there's an edge patron, and we said, great. Now, because the OCL system hasn't provided any official API, and we had to do something like screen scraping or other dirty tricks. And then perhaps some of you may remember this song. Okay. Closer look brought us to a point. Okay, it's there, but its use not for us. So for us, it looks like a great idea, but a bit outdated for our current needs today. And so this problem is not only ours. Perhaps you know the survey of the discovery subgroup from the last year. If you are not aware of this, you might see the session this afternoon for 30 p.m., where this survey and the results are presented once more. And also there would be discussion session for general problems of this interfaces like this. And on Thursday, Elde Beck, Safira will have a talk about the patrons interface. Here in this presentation, I will focus on the availability, so the RTAC. So, repetition, what's wrong with this current situation? We have an API, but this API doesn't not cover at least 60% of the needs. So nearly all graphical interface for patrons needs to find its own solution. And in fact, it's a bit like there would be no API at all, because everyone has to find their own solution again and again and again. And our idea was, how could we improve the system? So just step aside, I don't want to bash the current situation. I want just to improve something good. So, but it could be that some other libraries might have a look on the FOLIO system. They might have a look. The closed document doesn't appear. On the FOLIO system, and I see we cannot directly connect it to our front-end system for the patrons. So maybe we will stay with our old system, even FOLIO has some advantages. With this sheet, I want to explain the difference of the ideas. The original RTAC has a very good approach. It is make it simple and make it small. So it fetches only the information it needs, and it sends only the information which is demanded somewhere. Our idea is from the sentence availability info is nearly everything from information about the item. We are trying to fetch every item related information and filter them later. So in this concept, the RTAC system can't be really customized. If you have a problem, you have solution. It's open source. You can change the software, but in fact, normally no one does this. If you don't want to become trouble when the FOLIO system has a new release, the correct way is to write a ticket and then get supporters that this ticket will be noted as important, and then when it will become part of the RTAC version number 17 or something like this. In our system, the transformation is with XSL transformation, and each library would have additional needs or would change something, can just upload their own style sheet, and then the change is immediately available. So perhaps something happened just in a small room. Perhaps the door is locked. And you want to immediately inform your patrons that the books in this room aren't available at the moment. You're not going to change something general in the title information, or you don't want to ask the developers or maintainers of your patron graphical interface system to change this for you. You can just add in the XSLT file a sentence if it's this location, given additional information on the screen. So for us, I think it's nearly optimal. Speed. Since the idea behind RTAC is to keep it small and simple, by design, it's the fastest solution you can do. We have a lot of overhead, but in the real world, we think it's fast enough. We have availability information. It's not processed for thousands and millions of titles. It's processed for 2 to 200 or something. So if this is a delay of half of a second, normally less than 100 milliseconds, then nobody will notice. Okay, so just in general, the current RTAC or availability interface can't emulate anything, so it can't emulate our solution. But with this transformation, we can replace RTAC, just filter the information from maximum to the minimum needed. We order this, do some sorting that's directly identical, and so I think we can replace it. This might be perhaps important if there will be a change in the folio system to support legacy systems. Okay, this now is a bit unreadable, but it's part of a demonstration. So this is just a JSON output of the first step of our solution. At first, you have a language parameter, which comes later. Please keep it in mind. First, we are talking about items, but often in the instance data, there are some texts or some flags or something like this, which is related to the availability of all of the items. So we need this. Then we have a list of holdings. Here we have 2 holdings. And again, we have all informations. We have also the nodes on the holdings. And at this moment, we ignore totally a flag like this stuff only, because this isn't not intended to present it to the patrons. This is intended to the transformation process, and this transformation process can skip this ones, but maybe sometimes you want to show it differently. So we need to have everything here. Back to the presentation, but perhaps we are online now. We can just directly. The same data is also available in XML, so it's just a format translation inside the system. This XML then is the base for the transformation process. Oh. Presentation. So this is the real output of our current system now. And here there comes this language parameter I that you should keep in mind. Again, we have the availability to do it in live. Yeah. Yeah, we have, after the basic call of object information of the item with the human readable ID, the parameter en for English, and here in the text is reading room only, and the transformation process can interface this and print out the information as German. This is very important for us to have an internationalization of our front ends, and this is not limited to 1 or 2 languages. You can just have your own language codes if you use 2-letter or 3-letter codes. Don't care. Your style sheet can react on the information lang, if shown before, and so you don't have to have your texts in the folio system in any language. You can translate in your style sheet transformation. You can do this also in most of the patron graphical interfaces, but there are some cases where it might be an advantage to do it here on your own and not to ask the host of your VuFind installation or something like this. So normally a library has a hosted service and then send an email to someone to change it, and in 3 days it will change. With this solution, you change your style sheet, load it up, and then it's changed immediately. Again, the same, because okay, this is another example just to give you an impression about the availability this transformation can give to you. I prepared a little style sheet to generate an HTML page, some fixed text, the information from the instance. Then this instance has 2 holdings, and these holdings only one item each. I think I will skip the presentation. If anyone minds, just say no, I can give the demonstration. The problem with the demonstration is, so I just do the first step. This is HTML, and at the moment the doc type in the HTTP header is plain text. So the browser makes plain text. Okay, I will do the demonstration. What is it? Page S. This page, Okay, we've seen I've just saved the HTML code, and now from the file, the browser doesn't care the doc type, and so he can present this. And this is just a demonstration about the flexibility the solution will offer, or can offer. So this is just the style sheet for generating the HTML file. So you see this HTML tags, some fixed text as a second level header. Then this is get the title from the instance. Then for each holding in the holdings list, get the human readable idea. Then in the list of nodes, get the node and the staff only flag. And then for the items, the human readable ID, the status name, and the permanent runtime, the name. So fairly simple, I guess. It can be much more complicated, but not for the presentation. So now more, again, a real example, but a bit more complicated than the first, because journals are a pain in the ass. It's the same red, but it's a different library. Here again, the title information. Then for this journal, oh, it's changed. We have several holdings. Is it? Yeah, okay. And then we can expand one of the real holdings. Here, this is the information about the journal itself. Normally, you can't directly lend a journal because it's not clear which issue, which year, and all of this. So this is a link from the library where they offer a free order form for journals. And here are 3 items related to this journal, because this journal is often that issues are bound together by year. So it's one physical item, and they have probably, you see, it's a very long range, a lot of items like this. But in the workflow of the library, they do only create an item when it's requested. So there are already 3 items requested for 2022 or 2012. But there should be a lot of more. If perhaps someone wants to have an issue from 1910, then this item can be created and can be brought to the directly order service of the FOLIO system. In fact, the system librarians from this library wrote a very nice order form. This form does immediately the actions to generate this item, so that if it's immediately available, and if this perhaps 1910 bound volume is on loan, the next it will be available here as an additional item. Okay. The bound volumes, normal, you can order them or you can reserve them. They are in closed storage room, so you do not need any location information. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Because of all real examples I show to you are in the development system, I have not found the most recent solution we made. It's mentioned here. Okay. Yeah. In our internal format, we have also the information about the PO lines and pieces. So it would be available to present here that there's volume 100. Yeah. Oh, I'm not an librarian. Okay, issue 2 from the group 110 is already received in the 15th of August. And then here, I've seen it already, but I can't find it anymore. Last reason received and expected for the system and the libraries. Okay, why this presentation? Surely we are proud of our solution, but as I said, every system who wants to present availability information to the patrons needs to do this. And this is not an easy job. It's not just instance holding item. There are a lot of cases where you have to do additional things. You've seen already the evaluation of cases. When you have omnibus records where several titles share the same item, in most cases, the item is not really inside the holding of a non-leading title. You have to look in the bound width table and then to inject this information. And this injection to copy the item information to a non-leading title holding, this is done by the first step, collecting the most we can, and then you can fill it afterwards. But a presentation layer does not know that there is something like bound with, or there's something like PO lines, and or perhaps reserved for a course. This should be already present in the first step, in our opinion. So, okay, we have our own piece of software. Again, a mention of the wheel again. We can share this if someone wants to have the software or to contribute the development. But in real, my idea or my wish is to get this idea or this concept into the FOLIO system, so everyone can use this without programming self and adapting self. It's an open source system we have, and so we can contribute all. And if there are new special rules inside the FOLIO system, we can bring them to the system again, all information, and then the library can make their own individual transformation. Here in draft, I just have to look on the time. Okay, perfect. How this could look like. Our solution now is one solution with one piece of software. The idea might be to split it in two parts. First, maybe a mod RTAC 2 is just responsible for collecting all the data that is needed. So it's the first step of our solution, or you can just call it an extended mod RTAC. With this system, a discovery graphical interface should be able to present all needed information without calling other APIs of the FOLIO system and without any knowledge of internals of the FOLIO system. Because FOLIO will mature and it will get more and more features. And if you have more features, often you need solutions which are not straightforward. So there will be especially a head here, and a discovery system should not know anything about this. It should just know the result. Then more a solution to the edge, an edge RTAC 2, which holds the configurative part to transform to local or special needs. This transformation, translating, filtering, sorting, combine informations, can be done here to the local preferred format. And for migration reasons, it might be useful to create a format which is similar to the format of the format library system, so the migration would be easier. And I mentioned before, the transformation should be in direct control of system libraries or librarians of the library. So if there is an urgent task to do, it can be done directly. I don't know about the whole world about libraries, but our libraries, not one is the same like another. At least they want different texts. Sometimes they want other availability rules, and it's a mess. For us as a provider of central solutions, the maintenance is a problem. And if the library can do it on its own, it helps us and it helps the library. And if the library doesn't want to do it on yourself, we can offer these results also. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. As mentioned, I hope to see you again in the Discover session this evening or afternoon. And now let's start with questions and hopefully useful answers. So, is there any question direct in the room or in? Okay, sorry.
Yes, I'm from many times I heard from libraries asking about filtering the items for example, journal issues when we have 100, for example, issues in a single journal, maybe 200. Is this able to also apply filtering features in the HTML output?
The XSLT processing is able to do this, but I would suggest not to filter the items. I would suggest to tag the items and then have in the graphical interface a folding mechanism like I presented. So the most important are directly visible, and then you can perhaps expand it by year or something.
Yes, yes. Right.
So.
Thank you.
I understand it correctly that you fetch all items and holdings data in the first step,
yeah.
And all instances too, or just a part of it?
No, in the URL you have seen there is the human readable ID of the instance as parameter, and the system will just fetch it for them. For performance reasons, there is some caching, for example, bounce width, because if you do not have a caching mechanism there, it will slow down the system very much.
You use standard APIs to fetch.
Yes.
And which you're just using a handful APIs now.
At the moment, it's just 7, and it's not a problem to find the Okapi calls.
Yeah.
It's the problem to merge the data together. Because just one example, if you have if you have an omnibus record and you have an holding which has not the item information, you need to copy the item. But then you need to realize that in the item there's only the UUID of the location, of the effective location. So you need to be aware to copy also the information about the effective location to get the most possible complete information in your primary fetching process.
Each time you load for the locations?
There's locations and loan types, they are also cache.
Each time?
No, not for each type. The locations, the biggest library has not more than several million locations. So it's in normal modern computers, it's not a problem to have all locations in a cache. And during the fetching process of the data, we get from the Okapi interface, we get the UUID, and then we expand the UUID with the data from our cache. But this process is every time repeated, but much faster than having several Okapi calls for each item. Yes?
You published source code or documentation
It's
previous volumes.
It's at the moment it's not published yet because it's on heavy development now, and also all links are included in the presentation. Maybe next week there will be not more valid because they're targeting to a development system. But it's the plan to share this software, but it's very easy. It's not more than 2,000 lines of code because you have standard solutions for this style sheet transformation process. Just include the library and then call it. And we will share this, but again, our main intent is to get this as a part of the folio system itself, at least. RTAC should be extended in the way our idea is, and this transformation should be an additional part, not the core distribution, but an additional part. And here is not clear if it will become part of folio itself. If not, surely we will share it. Is not only a source code, but as a container image. So our edge modules are quite simpler than the official folio edge modules. It's just install it and inject while running the image, the secrets and the configuration data, and then it runs.
Okay, but it's extending functionality of some native modules.
Yes.
Folio. Yeah.
Everything this does is calling standard folio modules.
What is the what are the features extending the core modules with the folio native modules needs to be documented and
yes. At the moment, the source is the documentation, and you have the source. So, but you will get it. You have to just to make clear some parts and to make the code stable at the moment, and perhaps to make the code a bit more readable. So there is some work to do for us, but as I mentioned, we would be glad to share the code with you all. And again, for me, the perfect solution would be that folio, they should not, or there or we should not directly use our solution, but I would really appreciate it if folio would have a solution like this on its own. So again, it should be one API for availability, and no folio client should need more than this API.
That should be mentioned. The XSLT sheet for lines is already on GitHub.
Okay. Yes, but this is not a Okabe process. But
No.
Yeah.
But it's a mapping.
Yeah, but this is one problem of the publishing of the code. We haven't made an agreement that we are allowed to publish your work.
It's actually part of. It's already online.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
go ahead.
David, you had a question?
I was just curious if part of your vision included the ability to have multiple XSLTs simultaneously to meet multiple use cases through a single edge module somehow.
In our ideas, every library has their own edge RTAC too. They're responsible for their, and the next library is responsible for its style sheet. So you don't have the need to switch between different. It's only I want to change mine.
We've registered the module multiple kinds of different URLs, and each one has its own XSLT.
Yes, and each has one URL for their own instance of the container and can upload their own XSLT file to their own instance. So if they need more, or if they need one for a test system or a third or a fourth for a test system, you can just start up a new instance with a small directory to store the style sheet. And then they get a URL, perhaps different port number or different path, and then they can upload their own a style sheet with curl or something like this. So, if there are no more questions, I guess we are just in time. We have 6 minutes to have an early coffee or one more questions. Or perhaps suggestions. You might be wondering, oh, I have this and this problem. Could this solve my problem? Let's talk about this problem. Or do you have an idea to what could be missing? We are here in open source process. It's not a one-way direction. Yes?
Why XSLT?
Because it's easy to program and our libraries have some experience with XSLT from the data import process from the central system to FOLIO.
Okay.
It might be any other transforming model or system or something like this, but XSLT is well known, well proved. It has very well checked and fast processors. You can test it with a modern browser directly on your local system. So for us, it looked like the most appropriate solution, but we are not stuck with it. If in the FOLIO system, someone would suggest something which is much better, why not? For me, and perhaps for us, the most important thing is to change the way of thinking about availability, to have all and give the power of configuration to the library. By the way, we had at WOLFcon 2021 or 2022, I don't know, because I wasn't able to find the talk anymore, a presentation from the Texas A&M, I guess, where they presented their button generator. This was nearly the same idea. This was the idea to give the librarians of the library directly the option to modify the availability information. But this was only, this was limited to presenting a button which iconizes the way how the availability is. So this is, for us, this was too one-dimensional. And we want to be as flexible as possible. So again, perhaps during the day, get some new ideas or new questions. I will be here. I will be at the discovery session at 4:30. So It was nice.
Thanks enough.